guys, it is April from Getting Cocoa With It. Today I wanted to talk to you about my IVF plan. If you don't know and if you haven't seen one of my earlier videos, we got a call from our fertility clinic and we are on the list, and we're basically next on the list to do IVF, which is funded by the government of Ontario for one round, and I'm so grateful for that. Like, you have to get on this list and you're on it for about a year to a year and a half, and when your name is called, you are next in line to go for it. So in that last video I had talked to you about how we were planning to do it in either November or December. It looks like November was not even an option when we met with the clinic this past week. But December is an option. I have a lot of hesitancy about doing December because it's our anniversary, it's Christmas, and we got some news that might make it a bad month if we do it in December. January, however, I feel neutral about. So I'm thinking we're going to be doing it in January if possible. So the news that we got this past week was about my low ovarian reserve and about IVF success rates with low ovarian reserve. So when we got this call, we were so excited because for the average 36-year-old, I'm 36, so for the average 36-year-old doing IVF, there's a 47% chance that you're going to conceive. And I mean, when you've been trying to conceive for a while, 47% chance is like, it feels like a win. You know, there's still that almost 50-50 kind of chance that it might not work, but it just feels like a win. And so I was planning on vlogging the whole process. I was really excited. And then this past week I met with them and they said that 47% is for like the average 36-year-old woman, not for someone like you with diminished or low ovarian reserve. So where I'm at is I have 11 follicles and my AMH to FSH levels are kind of all skewed. But yeah, 11 follicles is not average for a woman my age. They're looking for something much higher than that. And so 11 follicles means that there are going to be fewer eggs. And because there are fewer eggs, that means there are going to be fewer eggs that mature. And then there are going to be fewer eggs that mature to a degree that they can be an embryo. And then that embryo may or may not last. Like, your success rates are a lot lower. So if I'm being perfectly honest with you, I walked away from that and I was like a low in my life. That was 2 days ago when I'm filming this, and I've never been that sad. I have never been that sad ever, because it felt like it was a death sentence on this dream. So I let myself be sad for a day. I've let myself be sad for longer than that, if I'm being honest. But I let myself like cry like crazy and drink a lot of wine, and I swear to God, I ate an entire tub of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. So that happened. And it's hard when you get news that it's like 20 to 30% chance. That means there's a 70 to 80% chance that it's not going to work. And that's really hard to stomach. And it's also really hard to stomach people who are like, but it could work, it really might work. And it's nice that they're being optimistic. It's so kind, but it's also really hard because it's like, did you just hear that there's a 70 to 80% chance that it's not going to work? So I think for me, it was really important to validate my feelings and allow myself to be really, really sad because this might not happen. But now, after one of my friends came over and we were talking, and she veers on the positive side. She is an optimistic person, but she's also like able to be with me in my sadness, which is really what I needed. I just needed that. But we were talking, and I started to talk to her about the importance of egg quality, and I decided basically that I wanted to try for January, so that in this next while, I've got a lot of October, all of November, and all of December to really try to help my egg quality. So I'm going to just focus on that because I can't focus on anything else. Yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm going to actually be able to vlog the whole IVF experience now, because I don't think I'll be doing another round of IVF after this. Like, fingers crossed we're pregnant, but I don't think I'll be doing another IVF. Maybe, you never say never, but because of that, and because the odds are so low, I'm probably going to be an enormous basket case for the entire time. So I'm still on the fence. I might do it, but I did want to talk to you guys about what I'm planning on doing to help improve my eggs, because if you can get good quality eggs, there's a chance. So I'm trying to put a positive spin on it and focus in all of my attention. So I kind of wanted to go through with you what my plan is, what I'm going to be eating and drinking, and the vitamins that I'm going to be taking, and why. So I should mention that all of this plan that I'm going to be talking to you about is in a book that basically saved like my mental health in this last couple of days, and it's called It Starts with the Egg by Rebecca Fett. And this is a wonderful book if you are thinking of conceiving. I really highly recommend it. It's absolutely chock full of information. A lot of fertility books will talk down to you, and this one is like jam-packed with science. If you're at the level that you need all the facts given to you about the woman's body, this is probably the best one to go to. So I wanted to start with maybe like what I'm going to be eating and drinking, and what I'm not going to be eating and drinking for my low ovarian reserve, and to get the best eggs possible, and maybe even get a few extra eggs out of the mix. Apparently, the Mediterranean diet is immensely helpful for fertility and fertile health. So I'm going to be eating high fat and complex carbs, and then I'm also aiming to lower my insulin. So I'm going to be doing that by eating low sugar stuff, and also I'm going to be doing some intermittent fasting, which helps to lower your insulin levels too. So in terms of like proteins, I'm going to be eating a lot of fish and eggs and legumes. Now, I am a pescatarian. A lot of people don't know what that means, so I just say vegetarian. But basically it means you're vegetarian, but you also throw in fish. Apparently that's a good thing, because apparently things like chicken and meat aren't great for your fertility health. So that's handy already. And then in terms of carbs, I'm going to be doing a lot of complex carbs, like brown rice and pumpernickel bread and quinoa. And then of course I'll be piling on the veggies. I'll be having all of the green leafy stuff I possibly can, and high in fat veggies like avocados. Are those a veggie or fruit? I can't remember. And then things like peppers are also really good, and tomatoes. So I'll be having a lot of that. And then I'm still going to want some fruit in my life and a little bit of sugar in my life. So I'm going for low sugar options like berries and apples and pears. So that is the plan for what I'm going to eat. Now, what I'm not going to be eating and what I'm going to be ditching from my diet for this next while are refined carbohydrates. So stuff with flour in it. And even like vegetables like potatoes and squash and pumpkin and sweet potatoes, corn, and even carrots. So I'm going to be nixing that for sure. I am also going to be ditching sugars as much as possible. So I'm going to ditch most sugar and including like high sugar fruit like bananas, which will be a sad day for my smoothies. Then the last one that I wanted to mention was apparently farmed salmon is a terrible option. So farmed salmon are fed things like corn and soy. So I'm going to be ditching salmon. I don't eat a lot of salmon anyway, but I didn't know that they were fed soy, which is strange. So I'm ditching all of those things. And then in terms of drinks, I'm going to be saying no to alcohol most of the time. I might have a glass here and there when it's a special occasion like my anniversary or Christmas. And then I'm just going to be having water, and that's the plan for drinks. In terms of caffeine, I'm going to say no to coffee most of the time and go for decaf instead, or a herbal tea. I will once in a while have coffee. Like, it's okay to have 1 cup of coffee or 1 cup of like black tea a day. So that's an option, but I think I'll just go for decaf, and then on the weekend, if my husband is making a pot of coffee, maybe I'll just have 1 regular coffee. But that is my plan for what I'm going to be eating and drinking. Hopefully this will help a little bit with egg quality. Fingers crossed. But I did want to go through the shit ton of vitamins I'm going to be taking, because it's insane. It's insane. I just dropped $107 on like 3 vitamin bottles of vitamins today, and I don't regret it at all, because this is where I think I'm going to be able to really make a big difference. The first vitamin that I'm going to be having isn't actually a vitamin, and it's very controversial. It's called DHEA. In the States, not controversial at all. Totally, you can get it over the counter and whatever. In Canada, it's harder to get. You usually need a prescription. For DHEA, I'm going to be having 25 milligrams 3 times a day. And what DHEA does is it kind of is meant to reverse your age in your ovaries, basically. So it'll enhance your ovarian reserve, and it helps to reduce cycle cancellation, which is huge when you're going through this, because you're doing so many shots and all sorts of patches and all of these things that are time consuming, and they're going to make you all hormonal and everything. So anything I can do to reduce the cycle cancellation will be great. And it apparently also increases your embryo quality. So it starts with the egg. She gives a lot of studies and examples of, each of these vitamins doing well in women with low ovarian reserve. So I kind of cling on to those things. So apparently with DHEA, some women were given DHEA for 4 months, and the women that were given DHEA had a 28% success rate in getting pregnant versus the 10% who didn't have DHEA. So if you didn't have DHEA, you only had a 10% shot at getting pregnant. If you had DHEA, 28%. That's a huge difference. So I'm giving that a shot, and I have been taking that actually for a while now. So I'm hoping that that's pretty in my system already. The next one that I'm going to be taking is the big one, the one that apparently really helps your fertile health in terms of egg quality, and that is coenzyme Q10, but specifically ubiquinol. It comes in 2 forms. It'll show like just coenzyme Q10, and then there's ubiquinol, and ubiquinol is actually really easily absorbed in your system, especially if you eat something with it. So I'm going for that. It's so much more expensive. It was like, I don't know, $40 or something crazy for, I think it'll last me 3 weeks. I'm having the ultimate dose. I'm going for the advanced plan here. So it's 300 milligrams once a day. But this can prevent and actually reverse the decline of egg quality. So because my whole plan is about making sure my eggs are good, ubiquinol I'm leaning on hard. And then of course I'm having a prenatal multivitamin. I have had this multivitamin for years now, because Barry and I have been trying for 2 years, but I started prenatal vitamin a year before that. So I've been on this for 3 years. That should be pretty much in my system now. So this is just once a day, and I just chose the Jameson one because it doesn't make my tummy feel gross. Like sometimes with prenatal vitamins, I felt like sick to my stomach right away after taking it. So this one doesn't do that, so that's good. And it's also really important for your prenatal vitamin to have folic acid in it, but a certain amount. So you want to be reaching for one with over 800 micrograms, or mcg, I think that's micrograms. So folic acid really helps to prevent birth defects, but it also helps to encourage your fertility, so that's good. I'm also going for vitamin E. I'm going to be having 200 IUs of this, and this helps equality, and it's also really good for women who have unexplained infertility. So if you've been diagnosed with that, try out vitamin E. It's supposed to be really, really great. I'm also going to be doing alpha lipoic acid. This is a new one for me. I've never taken this before. So I'm going to be doing 600 IUs of this, and this is meant to help improve your eggs' maturation and embryo viability. So this is really helpful for me because when they go and get all of my eggs for IVF, some of them will be mature and some of them won't. So if I can have as many mature eggs as possible that are of good quality, then I'll have an even better chance. So I'm really hoping that this stuff can kick in. So I'm going to have this on an empty stomach because apparently it's better absorbed that way. I've been doing vitamin D for a while, but I'm doubling my dose, and I'm going to be having 2,000 IUs now. Apparently in Caucasian women, you are 4 times more likely to get pregnant with high levels of vitamin D than if you had a vitamin D deficiency. And I mean, I live in Canada. I had to turn on the ceiling light because it's so dark already. So I'm really hoping that doubling that dose will help me out. I'm also going to be doing vitamin B12. I am a vegetarian, or pescatarian as I mentioned before. So vegetarians and vegans are often, low in vitamin B12 because you only really get that through animal products. So apparently vitamin B12 is helpful for embryo quality. So I'm going to be continuing to take that. And then when I go for the actual IVF cycle, I'm going to start melatonin. I didn't know that melatonin could do anything for you except help you sleep, but apparently 3 milligrams before bed can do a world of difference. Melatonin can double your chance of getting pregnant through IVF, and that's something that I should mention. In the book I've read that if you take melatonin and you're just trying to conceive naturally, it actually can do some damage on your ovulation cycle. So it's specifically for IVF. I'm not even sure whether it's okay for IUI, but because they're like forcing your ovulation with drugs, which they do in IUI as well, but because they're doing that, apparently the melatonin is okay and can actually really help. Like, one of the studies had 9 women take melatonin, and because of that, they had 65% of their eggs were able to become really good embryos. That would make a world of difference for me. It's a lot. I've obviously got tons on the go with this. I'm trying to focus on what I can do because I can't change the amount of eggs that are inside me. I can't do that. I really want to give myself this time for these next 3 months to do this so that I feel like I've done everything possible to get pregnant. And if it works, I'll obviously be over the moon, insanely happy. And if it doesn't work, I'll have known that I did everything. Anyway, I have no idea if this is even in any way interesting to you guys, but I wanted to update you with what is going on with the latest news, which wasn't great news. And that's the other thing, is you don't want to disappoint people. Like, there's so many people that want us to get pregnant, family and friends, and I know you guys have left the nicest, sweetest comments to me. So there is hope, but there is also reality. A lot of people think, I had a friend who did IVF, and so, it works. There might be many, many different reasons that it worked for them. They might have been in their 20s instead of 36, or they might have had more of an issue on the male fertility side, which is easier to work with because you can work with millions of sperm more than you can work with a very small amount of eggs. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to do any more videos like this. I really appreciate all of your well wishes, and I hope that you're having a good day, and I will keep you posted. Bye!